unannounced and they have something very important to tell you. I feel like that alone is worth sitting with for a moment before we go anywhere. Because the people who force their way into your energy like this, they are not at peace. Something has been building in them, something heavy, something they have been turning over in their hands for a while now, not knowing where to set it down. And today, whatever was holding it back finally gave way. Let me pull some cards here. I have the star. Okay, wow, the star is about hope, yes, but it is also about exposure, about stepping out into the open after a long time in hiding, about letting yourself be seen when everything in you has been trained to stay invisible. And I feel like that is exactly where this person is right now. They have been hiding something from you, not out of cruelty, not because they stopped feeling, but because the feeling became so large they didn't know how to hold it and hand it to you at the same time. The words kept failing them. Every time they got close to saying it, something in them shut down, some kind of door closed, and so they stayed quiet. But I feel like today the quiet stopped protecting them. Something shifted, something cracked. Here's Queen of Cups. She is sitting at the edge of the water, just looking out, not reaching, not speaking, just sitting with the full weight of what she carries inside her. And that is this person. They have been watching you from a distance, feeling everything, saying nothing. Running the conversation in their head 100 different times and never once actually having it out loud. Because for them, this feeling is not small. It never was. And the fear of saying it wrong, of handing you something half formed when what they feel is so complete, kept them from saying anything at all. I feel like they convinced themselves that silence was the safer choice for you and for them. Like if they held it long enough, it would eventually quiet down on its own, but it didn't. It just got louder. And I feel like that is important to name here because this person is not here on a whim. They are here because other options ran out. I am also getting the oracle card, I choose love. And that phrase feels almost defiant right now, like a decision this person is making in real time. Because I feel like they stood at a crossroads. Stay quiet, stay safe, or step forward and say the thing that has been living in their chest. And they chose to say it. They are choosing love over comfort, even though it terrifies them, even though they do not know how you will receive it, even though there is every chance this cracks them wide open. That is not nothing. That takes something real. Let me keep pulling. Six of Cups comes in. And I feel like a memory is what finally broke through, something they saw, heard, or stumbled into without meaning to pull them straight back to a moment with you, a specific one. I feel like it was a quiet moment, not a dramatic one. Maybe the way you said something and they thought nobody else would say it like that. Maybe the way you looked when you didn't know they were watching, something small that no one else would have noticed. But to this person, it was everything, and it cracked something open, found a place they thought they had sealed off and survived. And once that place opened, it wouldn't close again. That's the thing about this kind of feeling. You can suppress it for a season. You can build around it, bury it, keep yourself busy enough to not look directly at it, but it doesn't go anywhere. It waits. Here's Four of Wands. There is something here about a foundation, about something that was built between the two of you, even if it was never named, even if neither of you ever stood there and said, this is what this is. I feel like this person sees it clearly now. They can feel what was laid down between you, and staying silent about it has started to feel like a kind of dishonesty. Like they are lying by saying nothing, because what they feel is real, and real things do not disappear just because you refuse to speak them. They tried to move on. They built a story about why silence made sense, about timing, about distance, about all the reasons the moment passed them by. And one memory of you quietly dismantled all of it, without drama, without warning. It just fell apart, and what is left underneath all of it is the truth. Something they have been carrying far longer than they want to admit. Something that has your name on it. I want you to take a breath before we go any deeper. Because what this person stepped forward with is not light. What they have to tell you has been sitting in them for a while. It is real, it is raw, and it belongs to you. Now, let me look at your side of this. Because this person's stepping forward, this message coming through, it doesn't land in a vacuum. You have been feeling something too. And I want to name that before we go any further. I have Four of Cups here, and I feel like you have been in a kind of waiting, not the dramatic kind, not the kind where you are pacing and spiraling. More like a quiet, resigned waiting, like you made yourself comfortable with not knowing, like you told yourself whatever happens, happens. And on the surface, that looked like peace. But underneath it, I feel like the hope was still there. A small, stubborn hope, the kind you stopped letting yourself look at directly because it hurt too much to want something you were not sure was coming. Does that make sense? I feel like you became very good at functioning inside the uncertainty, very good at keeping your days full enough that you did not have to sit with it, but it followed you into the quiet moments, into the spaces between things. Here's the moon, and the moon is about what lives in the in between, the things that are real but not yet visible, the feelings that move through you at night when your guard is down. I feel like you have had thoughts about this person that surprised you, moments where something reminded you of them and the feeling was bigger than you expected, bigger than you thought you still had. And you probably talked yourself down from it, told yourself you were just being nostalgic, told yourself it didn't mean anything, but it meant something. I feel like you have been wondering, not obsessing, but wondering. Turning something over quietly in the back of your mind. What are they thinking? Do they feel any of what I feel? And then you would catch yourself and pull back. Remind yourself not to get ahead of things. Remind yourself that wanting something does not make it real, but you kept coming back to it. That quiet wandering never fully left you. Let me keep going. Eight of Swords comes in. And I want to be gentle with this one because I feel like you have been in a kind of self-imposed blindfold. Not because you are weak, but because you have been protecting yourself. Because the last time you let yourself fully hope, fully open, it cost you something. And so you learned to leave a little distance between yourself and what you want most. You got good at keeping one foot outside the door. Good at caring and pretending you don't, good at wanting and calling it something less. I feel like there is a part of you that has been waiting for a sign, not a dramatic one, just something, some signal from this person that what you feel is not one sided, that you are not standing in this alone. And I feel like today that is exactly what has come in. I am also getting the Oracle card, you are safe to be seen. And I want you to sit with that for a second. Because I feel like part of what has kept you quiet is not just uncertainty about them, it is uncertainty about yourself, about whether what you bring to this is enough, about whether the version of you that loves this person is someone they would choose, about whether you are too much or not enough, or somehow both at the same time. I feel like this person has taken up a specific kind of space in your mind, not because you chose to give it to them, but because they earned it somehow, and you have never fully been able to explain that even to yourself. That doubt has been doing a lot of work inside you, making you edit yourself down, making you hold back the parts of you that feel the most, making you perform a kind of casualness around something that is anything but casual. And it has been exhausting, honestly, carrying something that big and pretending it weighs nothing. But what is coming through today asks you to set that down. Just for right now, because what this person has to say, it speaks directly to those doubts. It answers them. In ways you were not expecting, here's Ace of Cups. And this card always makes me feel like something is being offered. A new beginning of feeling opening up, a new well of emotion being handed directly forward. And I feel like that is what this moment is. Not a continuation of the confusion, not more of the same waiting, not another chapter of silence and guessing, but something new. Something being extended to you. The question is whether you are truly ready to receive it. I feel like you are, even the parts of you that are scared, even the part that has been keeping the blindfold on, even the part that has been calling this nothing when it has always been something. All of you is ready, and that is why this person's message is reaching you today. Because you are finally ready to hear it, not the version of it you imagined, not the edited, softened version you gave yourself permission to want. The real one, the full one, the one they have been working up to for longer than you know, and it is coming. Now, let me go to their side, because I want you to understand what has been happening in them, what has kept them quiet for so long, and what finally made them speak. I have the Hermit, and I feel like this person is someone who processes alone, not because they are cold, not because they don't feel, but because their interior life is enormous, and they have learned over time that the world does not always have room for that. So they got very good at carrying things internally, at working things out in private before bringing them anywhere near another person, at appearing steady when something enormous was moving underneath. And they are good at it. So good that people around them often have no idea how much they are actually feeling. You may not have known either. I feel like they have a whole conversation happening inside them that you have never been invited into a full, complex, ongoing conversation about you. About what you mean to them, about whether they have the right to say it, about whether saying it would make things better or break something fragile. They have been in that conversation for a long time, and it has been exhausting. Here's Five of Pentacles. And I want to be specific about this card because I feel like this person has a deep fear of being left out in the cold. A fear of extending themselves fully, putting everything on the table, and having it not be enough. I feel like something in their past taught them that maybe not with you, maybe long before you, but somewhere they learned that being too much or wanting too openly came with a cost. And so they developed this habit of holding the best of themselves back, keeping just enough distance to survive if things fell apart. With you, I feel like that protection got in the way because what they feel for you is not the kind of thing that stays manageable. I feel like they have tried. I feel like they have genuinely tried to scale it down, to rationalize it, to put it in a box labeled something ordinary, and it refused to go. It keeps growing past the edges of what they allow themselves. And that has frightened them. Let me pull more cards, Knight of Swords. And here is where the shift happened. The Knight of Swords does not wait. He sees where he needs to go, and he moves, even if the conditions are not perfect, even if the timing is messy, even if he is terrified. And I feel like something in this person finally switched over into that energy. They stopped waiting for the right moment because I feel like they realized there may never be a perfect moment, that the waiting itself was becoming its own kind of loss. I am also getting the Oracle card. What is meant for you will not pass you by. And I feel like this person has been sitting with that idea, with the possibility that what they feel is not just a feeling, that it is pointing towards something real. Something that is actually theirs to have if they are willing to reach for it, and reaching requires risk. It requires saying the thing out loud in the open where it can be accepted or rejected. That is terrifying for someone who has spent so long in the hermit's cave. Someone who has made an identity out of self-sufficiency, out of needing nothing, out of being the one who is fine, asking for something, wanting something, saying, I want you. That is the opposite of fine, and they are doing it anyway. I feel like part of what triggered them was a moment of clarity, a sudden sharp awareness that they were letting time pass. That the story they had been telling themselves about waiting for the right moment, about giving you space, about not wanting to overwhelm you, was starting to feel less like consideration and more like cowardice. And they could not live with that. They could not be the person who stayed quiet and let this pass. So they are saying it here now in whatever form this message comes through. I feel like they are nervous. I feel like there is a version of them right now that is almost shaking with it because this is not something they say easily. It is not something they say often. What they are about to put in front of you is the truest thing they carry, and they are handing it to you anyway. That is the whole message of this part. This person is not careless or rash. They did not step forward without thinking. They thought about this more than you know. They played it out 100 different ways. They asked themselves what the worst case was, and then they asked themselves what it would cost to stay silent. And the cost of staying silent was higher. And that is how they got here. Not luck, not through a single moment of weakness or impulse, through a long and honest reckoning with themselves, with what they want, with what they feel, with what they are willing to risk to have it. You were always the answer. The answer for a while has been you. They stepped forward because staying back became unbearable. Now, let me look at what is actually moving. Because something has changed, Something is in motion. I have the Chariot here, and the Chariot is not a card about waiting. It is a card about direction, about someone who has made a decision and is now committed to it. And I feel like that is exactly where this person is. The internal battle is finally done. The weighing of options, the circling, the hesitating, all of that has ended. They chose you. And now they are moving toward that choice, not cautiously, not with one foot still held back just in case fully, with everything they have, with the whole truth of what they feel. Here's Three of Wands. And I love this card here because the Three of Wands is about someone standing at the edge of something, watching their ships come in, waiting on what they sent out to return to them. About someone who sent something out into the world and is now standing at the edge, watching the horizon, waiting to see what comes back. I feel like this person has already taken a step before this reading, before you even clicked play. Something was already in motion on their end, maybe a message drafted, maybe a decision made to show up somewhere, maybe just the internal declaration, that private moment when they looked at themselves clearly and said, I am going to say it. I am done waiting for the right time. The right time is right now, whatever form it takes. The movement has already begun. It is already in the water, and once something is in the water, you cannot take it back. This person knows that, and they are doing it anyway, because the alternative is standing on the shore forever. Here's Page of Cups. And the Page of Cups always feels to me like an unexpected message, like something arriving that you did not see coming, like a knock on the door from someone you had given up waiting for. And I feel like that is the energy of what is heading toward you. Something you are not expecting in quite this form, even if part of you has been hoping for it. Part of you will still be surprised, because when it actually arrives, when the real thing finally shows up in its full form, instead of the version you imagined inside your own head, it lands differently. It lands heavier than you expected. It lands truer, more real, more yours. I am also getting the Oracle card. The breakthrough is here. And I want you to really hear that not as something vague, not as a general spiritual encouragement that could apply to anything, as something specific to this situation, to this person, to this connection, a real breakthrough between two people who have been circling each other, feeling things, saying nothing. That is what is happening. The circling is ending and something more honest is beginning. I feel like the thing this person has to tell you is going to shift something, not just emotionally, but practically the dynamic between you two is going to look different after this. The shape of things is changing. The version of this connection that has existed in uncertainty is moving towards something with more definition, more clarity. More honesty, more ground under it. I want to name what I feel this person is about to do. I feel like they are going to reach out directly, not hint, not send something vague that could be read either way, not test the waters with something casual that gives them an exit if you don't respond how they hope. Reach out, say the thing directly. Put it in front of you plainly and let you do with it what you will, because the Knight of Swords energy from the last part is still here. There is a decisiveness to this, a willingness to be direct even though direct is harder. And I feel like part of what is changing is their relationship to fear. They have been afraid for a long time, afraid of your reaction, afraid of disrupting something, afraid of what it means if they say it and you do not feel the same. But something shifted in that fear. It went from a reason to stop to just a feeling they are carrying while they move forward anyway. That is the difference. That is what is new here. Fear used to be the ceiling. Now it is just weather. Something to move through, not something to obey. They are not fearless. They are scared and moving anyway. There is a difference. Fearless means you feel nothing. Courageous means you feel everything and go anyway. This person is choosing courage, and they are just done letting the fear be the final word. So something is coming, viewer. Something real, something real, something that is going to ask you to be present, to be open, to sit with it instead of immediately analyzing it. To let it be real before you start deciding what it means. To not talk yourself out of receiving it. Because I feel like that is going to be your challenge. Not whether they will show up, but whether you let yourself believe it when they do, and we are going to talk about what that looks like. This part is the confession, what they have never said out loud, what lives at the center of everything they have been holding. I have the Lovers here, and the Lovers is not just a romance card. It is a card about a choice, about standing at a crossroads and choosing fully and consciously one path over another. And I feel like this person is choosing you. Not out of habit, not because it is convenient, not because you are the easiest option available, but because when they strip everything else away and get completely honest with themselves, there is no other choice. There has never been another choice. You are the choice. I feel like this person has missed you in a way they were not prepared for. And I want to be specific about that because I think it matters. This is not a vague general longing. This is specific to you, to the way you exist, to the particular shape you take up in their life, not just in a general wistful way, in a specific physical aching way, the kind of missing that has real texture to it, that lives in the body, not just the mind. The kind where you reach for your phone without thinking, where something funny happens and your first thought is, I wish I could tell them. Where a song comes on and you have to change it because it sits too close to something you are not ready to feel in public, that kind of missing. And they have been carrying that quietly for a long time, in a way that has sometimes been exhausting, in a way that has sometimes felt like grief, and they have never told you any of it. Here's Knight of Cups. The Knight of Cups is a romantic. He is the one who rides toward you with his whole heart in his hand, who shows up not because the timing is right or the conditions are anywhere near perfect, but purely because the feeling is real. And I feel like that is exactly what this person is doing. They are riding toward you with their whole heart completely open, with everything they have been carrying finally out in front of them. And what they want to say, what they have slowly been building up to, is this: I feel like they want you to know that you have meant something to them, something that surprised them, something they genuinely did not see coming. I feel like this is not someone who falls often. I feel like they did not expect to feel this way about you, and that caught them off guard completely, and honestly embarrassed them a little. Because they did not plan for this. They did not sit down one day and decide to feel this way about you. It arrived without asking, because this is not the kind of person who falls easily. But they fell, and they fell for you specifically, not for a version of you, not for a fantasy they built around you, for the actual you, with all your specific qualities, all the things about you that nobody else carries in quite the same way. The one who says things the way only you say them. The one who has that specific quality they have never been able to name but have always felt. I feel like what they want to confess is that they think about you more than they have let on, that you cross their mind constantly, in small moments throughout the day, that they wonder what you are doing, whether you are doing, okay? Whether you ever think about them, whether what they feel has any kind of echo in you. Whether you have ever felt even a fraction of what they carry, that question has lived in them longer than they want to admit, far longer than felt comfortable. Let me keep pulling. Two of Cups, and this card feels like recognition, like two people finally seeing each other clearly. Maybe for the first time, without the filters, without the performance. Just the real unguarded thing on both sides. I feel like this person sees you, the actual you, not who they want you to be, not a projection of what they need, you exactly as you are. And they want you to really sit with that and know it. I am also getting the Oracle card. I have always loved you, and I want to sit with this card for a moment because I want to be careful here. I do not want to put words in anyone's mouth, but I feel like this card is speaking to a depth of feeling, to something that has been present for a long time, even when it was unnamed, even when it was buried under distance and timing and everything else that kept them from saying it out loud. The feeling was always there. And that is what they are finally bringing to you. Not something new that arrived suddenly. Something that grew in them quietly, steadily, without permission. Something they tried to stop and simply could not. Something that has had your name written all the way through it. And the confession at the center of all of this is that you were never just someone to them. You were always someone very specific. Someone who they chose, even when it looked like silence. And they are completely done pretending otherwise. That is the whole truth of what they have to tell you. Now let me tell you what comes next. Because we have gone deep in this reading. We have sat inside the fear, the silence, the weight of all that waiting. And now I want to show you where this is heading. I have the Sunday, and the Sunday after everything we have just moved through feels like an exhale, like something finally coming into the light after a long time underground. And I feel like that is exactly what this moment is for you. Something that has been in the dark for too long is about to step into the open, and the open is warmer than you have been expecting it to be. I feel like what is coming for you is clarity, not the painful kind, not the kind that shows you something you did not want to see. The good kind, the kind where something that has been blurry for a long time finally comes into focus, and you realize the answer was simpler than all the stories you were telling yourself. I feel like this person reaching out, this message coming through, it is going to feel like relief, even if it also feels like a lot, even if part of you does not quite know what to do with it at first. But underneath all of that, I feel like there is going to be relief because you are finally going to know, and you have been waiting to know for a while now. And knowing, even when it is complicated, is better than the in between. The in between is where you have been living, and that chapter is closing now. Here's Ace of Wands, and this card is a beginning, a real one, not the tentative kind where you cautiously dip your toe in and wait to see if the water is safe, the kind where something ignites. Where a spark catches and holds and becomes a direction, where something that was only potential suddenly becomes something actual and real. I feel like what is being offered to you right now is a genuinely new chapter, not a continuation of the uncertainty you have been living in. Something genuinely new, and I feel like the invitation for you right now is to meet it with the same courage this person is showing you, because they are stepping forward with their whole truth. And I feel like you are being asked to do the same, not to perform, not to play it cool and pretend this isn't as big as it is, not to protect yourself by managing how much of yourself you let them see, but to actually show up as the version of you that feels things deeply, as the version of you that has been quietly hoping that version is allowed to exist here. That version has always been allowed, and that version is exactly who this person is reaching toward. I am also getting the Oracle card. This is the beginning of something beautiful. And I want you to hold on to that because I feel like you have spent a lot of time in the middle of things, in the gray, in the not knowing, in the part of the story where nothing is resolved yet. And what the cards are showing me is that the middle is ending. Moving out of the fog, something is finding its shape, and the shape it is taking is something genuinely good. Let me pull one final card, the world completion, a cycle closing, and something entirely new opening in its place. And I feel like that is the perfect card to end on for this reading, because what has been incomplete between you and this person is finally moving toward wholeness, not perfection, not the absence of history or complexity, but wholeness, the kind that comes from honesty, from two people finally standing in the same truth at the same time without anyone hiding, where neither person is carrying more than their share in silence, where what exists between you finally has a name. I feel like the message for you leaving this reading is actually very simple. Let it land. When this person comes forward, when the message arrives, when the moment happens, let it land. Do not rush past it to protect yourself. Do not minimize it to make it feel safer. Do not immediately start calculating what it means or what you are supposed to do next. Just let it be real for a moment, because real things deserve to be felt before they are figured out. This is a real thing. Let yourself feel it first. Before you do anything else with it, you have been so careful for so long, so measured, so careful with how much you showed, so guarded you are allowed to just feel this one. And I feel like everything coming toward you has been earned by you, by this person, by the patience, by the long, quiet way you have both been carrying something true without dropping it, and it is arriving. So take care of yourself. Be really gentle with yourself as this unfolds, because unfolding, even beautiful unfolding, can be tender, and you deserve space to move through it without rushing. Stay open, stay in your body, and deeply trust what you feel, because it has always been pointing somewhere worth going. We have sat inside the fear, the silence, the weight of all that waiting. And now I want to show you where this is heading. I have the Sunday, and the Sunday after everything we have just moved through feels like an exhale, like something finally coming into the light after a long time underground. And I feel like that is exactly what this moment is for you. Something that has been in the dark for too long is about to step into the open, and the open is warmer than you have been expecting.